Good to see so many faces in the crowd. So this is the Why Has a Foreigner Chosen to Live, Work, Spend Time in Bulgaria discussion. So we have our three guests. Hana Chitbaiova. She is the HR Director of UniKredit Bulbank.
Hello, everybody.
We have Tomas Krembauer, CEO of Devin. And we have Ноах Мааян, who's the Asset Manager of Mall of Sophia. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Just a couple of intro words in case you haven't read the bios. Hana has a profound experience in HR and human resources, supported with solid business knowledge and capacity of establishing effective and trusty partnerships with many business leaders. She has extensive experience in HR. She started, it was about 12 years of experience. You started with UniKredit back in 2003. You've gone through various steps, and since 2015, you've become the HR Director in UniKredit Bulbank. So you've been around for 8-9 months in Bulgaria this far?
8 months now, yes.
8 months,
Since January this year.
Okay. You have a master's degree in financial management. You speak English and Italian. There we go. And Tomas Krembauer is the CEO of Devin, who's one of our sponsors. Thank you. Thank you for being here. You've been in that position since May 2012, so you've been in Bulgaria for 3 years now. Before that, you were chairman of the supervisory board of the water and soft drinks bottling company, which you took over in 2011. In your background, you have experience in several leading companies in the food and beverage sector. You've worked in 12 countries in Central and Eastern Europe, as well as Scandinavia. So broad experience there. Before you came in Bulgaria, 2004-2010, you were the MD of Lindt in Austria. And from 1997 to 2004, you were director of Coca-Cola in different countries. So very, very broad experience. Thank you for being with us today. And Ноах, apologies. You've been, I just have Noah and it's...
Noi.
Noi.
In your language it's Noi.
It is Noi. You have, experience leading and motivating people, increasing efficiency and promoting teamwork in general. You're an experienced asset manager focusing on leasing, marketing, long-term planning, and budgeting. You've worked in Israel, Poland, Czech Republic, where you've been responsible for both property management and asset management, and you've achieved uplift impressively of 35% in the first 5 years of operation of Noi. So since April, you've lived in Bulgaria since 2008. So almost 7 years now. We actually started the career forum in 2008, so you've been around for quite long. And all of the above is your second career, actually. You first was serving the military for 25 years in Israel. So thank you, guys. Very broad spectrum of experience and opportunities. I guess the question to kick off thing is, the obvious one. Why did you choose to build your career in Bulgaria or have a progression step in Bulgaria as part of your career? Maybe Hana?
Yeah, I can start. Actually, for me, it was actually UniKredit Bulbank that gave me the opportunity to come here. So my decision was more professional. The opportunity came. It was the head of HR of UniKredit Bulbank, obviously knowing the company, being a leader on the market in the financial sector. I felt absolutely compelled to take this opportunity. Then over these 12 years, working in 5 different countries in UniKredit, I have met a lot of Bulgarians. So I knew this culture, I knew Bulgarians as an HR, and I found it, okay, it would be a great environment to work in. So that was my...
that was before you came. Now that you're here, is that become true?
I can only confirm,
okay.
Yes, I can only confirm.
Really positive person, there you go.
My story is, yes, maybe a bit more strange, because looking at my background, no, it's basically 3 questions that I'm always asking myself when I take on a next career move. The first one is with whom or for whom do I work? The second one is what can I achieve? And the third one is does it fit into my personal plan? Devin is owned by one of the top 10 global private equity funds, and I have been working with Advent International before, and they came to me and said, listen, we bought this water company in Bulgaria, we would like you to have a look at them and basically to help us to shaping the company. This was in 2011, so that's when I joined the supervisory board, and then 1 year later we decided to make some management change, and they asked me to step in and to run the business over the next couple of years in order to shape. So for me it was working for private equity is very interesting, working for a top 10 global private equity fund is very interesting, obviously professionally. It was about shaping, leading and shaping and joining basically a leading fast-moving consumer goods company in a country where you can still shape the business and you can shape the company. And the third reason, it fits into my plan. I like to work in different countries. I know Bulgaria for a long time. I mean, I've been here in the 90s. So nothing has been a big surprise to me when I landed in 2011. I mean, I knew what I would meet. And so that was my personal driver for taking on the opportunity.
Okay.
I didn't choose. I was sent here.
I was sent here. Honest enough.
I'm working for an Irish fund, and after they sold most of their properties in Czech Republic, we had few here, Mall of Plovdiv, Mall of Sofia, and in Moskovska we have an office building. The British Embassy is there, so I was sent here. But it was good that they sent me here.
So what would you say, given your experience in other countries, what are some of the positives? We'll get to the negatives as well, but let's stick with the positives first. What are some of the positive things of doing business in Bulgaria? You have very different sectors as well, so that's why I'm curious. What do you see is human capital, for lack of a better word, good? Is the climate, the business climate, good? What are some of the things that help you do business here?
So being from the area of HR, I would go straight to talk about people. Because it's usually about people that make the difference. And here in Bulgaria, I confirm that what I experienced before outside, meeting Bulgarians, how cooperative they are, the way of cooperation, supporting each other, being ready to substitute, to help, support. Furthermore, go an extra mile is something that is so natural for Bulgarians that sometimes you really feel, you meet people, some of the countries where people say, okay, this is my job description from here to here. It's definitely not here. This is what needs to be done. I go there. They are ready to do much more than expected from people. So this is something that any company that come here, any foreigner that come here, finds it amazing, can really build on this nature, and this is one of the winning. I could tell you lots of a long list of positive things. Unfortunately, somebody told me that I'm too positive in this respect towards Bulgarians, so I could tell you actually a long list, but this is something that is on my top, and I give them space to others, and then...
Okay, we'll come back.
No, for me, Bulgaria is in a transitioning process. Bulgaria is very dynamic. It's on the move. It's going into a direction. It has chosen to be a part of Europe. It is formally became a member of the EU not so many years ago. So it is on a very interesting journey, and socially, politically, economically, and working in business. There is still a significant development curve ahead of basically, I think, any business segment. I mean, there is no single business segment in Bulgaria which would be saturated. So it makes it interesting for any company in any type of business actually to lead and shape the market and to move things. And that's what I think is extremely positive. For me, also, Bulgaria has a very... I think that's one of the future assets is the geopolitical location of Bulgaria is very good. I mean, we see that a lot in our business as well, because out of Bulgaria you can deal with the Middle East. Out of Bulgaria you have good access to Asia. You have a lot of Asian businesses that are coming here and looking at Bulgaria being the potential entry point to Europe. We are looking at export opportunities. We have relatively low labor costs. We have a good taxation. We have a good geographical location for exporting, and that's something I think that will play a bigger role in the next 10 years to come.
I think that the main difference between Bulgarians and people I know, like Czech people or Polish, you are less square.
We're less, what, sorry?
Less square.
Okay, less square. More round.
Yeah, no, you are round, you are flexible, you can be moved to almost any direction with the right management / leadership. When I was in Prague, every time someone came to me and asked me, what do you think about this idea? And my answer was, what do you think? They were afraid to take decisions and to make mistakes. And mistakes is a big part of our life, in professional life or in personal life. And when you give people the opportunity to make mistakes, they develop better. And you have to tolerate mistakes, of course, and to take responsibility.
Absolutely agree there. Now, if we can come back, and I know you're hugely positive. We spoke earlier last week, and I was pleasantly surprised that you were so positive about Bulgaria. It's good to see, but if you could, well, not too scrutinizingly, but what would you say are some of the stuff that you would think can be improved in Bulgaria, let's put it that way, or downsides? You want to start this time? Okay.
Yes, I want to start. I think I hear too many times, even today I heard from someone that when I came here, the Bulgarian mentality. Yeah. I hear it too many times on too many subjects, and I don't accept it.
How do you mean Bulgarian mentality?
That's when I say, let's do something. And they are telling me why not to do it, because the Bulgarian mentality is so and so. And I don't accept this sentence. Even here, look at the name. Career in Bulgaria, why not? Instead of absolutely.
I think someone from the previous lecture.
Okay.
No, that's actually a good point. Someone from the previous lecture, which was leading businesses to abroad, suggested that we rebrand, and I said, let's wait for 10 years because we're at 8 right now. At 10th edition, I'll move it to Krembourg. Absolutely.
Don't wait. Don't
Do
wait.
it now.
Make it shorter.
Maybe.
I'm coming from Israel, and I heard good things about Israel here from my colleagues. What was done in the last 60 years there, because we didn't wait for 10 years probably.
Yeah.
We have to do it when someone is asking me, when do you want it ready? My usual answer is yesterday. Yeah. And you don't have time. You have to keep up with Europe. And many times I hear, no, we are the Balkans. It's not Europe. Yes, it is. It's more Europe than Israel.
I confirm, actually. I had something else in mind, but when I was listening to you, the same thing is actually valid also for me, that whatever new you come, there is really the first reaction. I'm not saying people are really great and they go for new ideas. They are not afraid of new ideas. This is excellent. But the first reaction is, it will not work for Bulgarians in Bulgarian mentality. So I do confirm this thing. But what I had in mind as a thing to improve, for me, the strongest would be the bureaucracy. What I see and the pile of documents that I'm signing every day is really something that I feel like if we reduce it to half, it still would be too much. So this is something that I really feel kind of strange, that so much bureaucracy, formality is you find here in Bulgaria.
And you're over 3,000 staff across Bulgaria?
4,000, over
okay.
4,000.
So my company has 50 people that I manage.
Okay.
And I have a huge pile. I can only imagine the 4,000
Imagine
people.
4,200 people, what is on every day on my table.
Okay. Thomas?
In terms of negatives, I think one is what I miss is what Bulgarian employees, in my opinion, have to focus on much more is the sales and customer service mentality. Yeah. This is something that mentality-wise is somehow not in the DNA, and I think that has to develop. The second one is Bulgaria. My Bulgarian friends and also Devin employees are very critical and cynical about their own country. And I'm Austrian. There are a lot of things I don't like in Austria, but when I'm abroad or when I talk to others, I'm a patriot. Yeah? I love my country. And I worked in my country. It's not I left my country for 25 years. No, I came back and I worked there for several years, and I will go back eventually one day. So it's a passiveness in terms of taking on accountability, responsibility for shaping this country, yes, instead of being cynical or in being discontent, take a role, take part, shape. Yeah, I think Bulgaria belongs to this generation we are having here, 20, 25, 30 years old. But there I see a certain passiveness, and also sometimes in business that would I, as a foreigner, I see it's very obvious to me.
Yeah. Agreed. I have the same problem with proactiveness as well sometimes in my company, but we have to work on things. What would you say, I know you've been only for 8 months, so I guess it's more a question to you guys, but has Bulgaria changed in the time you've been here? You've been around for 8 years, you've been here for 3 years, so that's a bit of a time to give you perspective.
There are better restaurants here.
Better restaurants.
And the service is a little bit better in the last 8 years, but I agree. It's changing. I think it's too slow. I was in Prague around 7, 8 years, and the change was faster.
Okay.
Here I think that the change is too slow. Maybe because you want to wait 10 years.
Maybe.
You don't have time.
Okay.
10 years, you're going to be 40, 50, and you're going to be sitting here on the stage.
I meant in 2 years we'll rebrand, because we're at year 8 right now, so we're close, almost there.
No, I know Bulgaria since 1991, and it has been very fast. There has been a very fast development in the beginning, in the 90s, and then for me there came a period of stagnation somehow. And when you compare Bulgaria today with Poland, Czech, or Hungary, it's, I think, in terms of a lot of developments in the market, maybe also politically, democratically, it's maybe 10, 12 years
behind,
lagging pace. But it's changing from, fast-moving consumer goods, it's very fast-moving. We see changes every day. The market is changing every day. There are huge developments, huge consolidation going on. But it could be faster, it should be faster, but again, it depends on the role everybody personally takes.
Okay. Do you have a perspective on this?
I am afraid I don't. Being here 8 months, what I see is, yes, Bulgaria is developing, is growing, is reconstruction everywhere, so obviously...
It's elections.
Okay, that's the reason.
No, but we'll invite you back in a couple of years for number 10, our 10th edition.
Happy to come back in a couple of years.
Do you plan to spend, if you don't mind me asking, what is your plan? Do you have a normal rotation every few years, 7, 8 years, or...
In my case, it was rotation every 2, 3 years in another country.
So let us know before you leave so we can ask you
I
in
will.
an exit interview. Okay. What is your perspective?
Probably going to stay here.
Okay.
Forever.
Admirable. Good. Thomas?
No, naturally the job has a scope and a time frame, but after that it's completely up to me. Yeah? Okay. Nobody forced me to leave or to stay, so I can freely choose. I have family here, so I have a very personal link to Bulgaria, which always keeps me close to the country and to the market. Yeah. So.
Okay. Good. So what would you say are the differences, because you've worked in so many different countries, and what would you highlight are some of the differences that you see, maybe within the same organization, maybe just across different organizations?
The main difference I see many differences. I would highlight one that I would like to highlight as a strength of Bulgarians is, let me start with a phrase that I think it's very known to all of you. If it's not the success that make you happy, it's being happy make you to succeed. And this is actually what I see here. I see people that are positive, that are smiling, that are optimistic, that have this positive attitude. This is my
Where do you live?
It is true. It is really, look around. People are smiling. People are positive. People are supportive to each other. So this is absolutely the strength I see in Bulgaria, and I would like to highlight it because it is important. It is one of the winning parts of Bulgaria.
I know I tease around a lot, but I have to agree. Bulgaria 2008, Bulgaria 2015, you see a lot more positivity in the air, and just people, their expectations have changed quite a bit. Obviously, there's ways to go. There's still to improve. But you're absolutely right. That is changing, and I reflect on that. Agree.
No, I find an incredible level of passion, passion and commitment, creativity. Yes, I think that there is a great potential in terms of entrepreneurship in the DNA. What is tough is when you have to inject like discipline and management routines and systems and processes, and you have to develop them from scratch. That's very tough. If you're a multinational corporation, okay, you're coming in, you have your template approach, you integrate the country into your international systems and processes. I mean, I worked for Coca-Cola, so you know, I know how this can work. But if you're not a part of a multinational corporation, but you're a local business and you have to set up a lot of systems, processes, management routines from scratch, it takes a long time. It takes a long time to make a dynamic organization adhere to the rules and to the processes. And that takes a hell of a lot of energy, and that's a challenge. Yeah.
Okay.
I was in the military 25 years. A lot of processes, a lot of rules. And I didn't belong to this place. And one of the reasons I left, I was not promoted to be a general because I was talking too much.
Were you? Was that a colonel? Is that before general?
Yes, one before general. So, in the processes in this kind of institution, if you talk too much and you have too many comments, they tell you in a nice way, you are not going to be promoted. In smaller companies, maybe not with 4,000 people, I have only one rule. My only rule is there are no rules. I think when you let people, it depends on the size of the organization, when you let people be more free in what they do, they will be more creative. You have to leave borders, but you can squeeze more creativeness from when you don't have too many rules. And I think when you do it here, people are flourishing.
Okay. We'll step back slightly, if you allow me, into more personal question, and I'll come back to the professional ones. But outside of your professional career, how do you find Bulgaria? How do you find Sofia? Is it a nice place to live? You mentioned restaurants earlier. That's why I wanted to ask.
Anybody would like to? Yes, from let me continue to be positive, because I was actually talking to my husband, because I also brought the whole family. My husband is living here. My little son is living here, going to kindergarten in Sofia. And for us, it was quite a quick decision to come here. So we did not really study what to find in Bulgaria, what is the culture, the history, everything. We discovered it here when we came, and we keep discovering these things. And we had so many surprises. We did not expect such a good food and wine. I really thought Italian wine was the best. Now I think that Bulgarians and Italian wines are on the same level. Red wines are really good. Then obviously all the location of Sofia, being so close to the mountains, which we love very much, being so rich in history. I'm sorry to say I didn't know it before. Now I discover that you have the 6th oldest city in the world is Plovdiv. Yeah. And I didn't know that Bulgaria is so rich in history. So many surprises that we found out, and we keep discovering still. I
think we should make you a poster child for Bulgaria. Just promote you. We'll have the president, who's our patron, give you a special medal maybe.
It's interesting. I also think Bulgaria, from a touristic perspective, is underselling itself. You know? So I think there's significantly more potential. I like living in this country because it has a huge diversity, beautiful landscape. I mean, you can go skiing, you can go to the beach, food, wine, etc. I have a lot of friends, great people, great mindset, great attitude, positive towards life. You know, you have great nightlife here. It's very convenient. I mean, I have been living in very bad places before, especially in the 90s. But Sofia I think it's great, and I think it's completely underselling itself. And most of the foreigners I know, they are very, very happy here. Even with family, it's very convenient, And so perfect,
Thank you.
When you go to a building here, inside it looks great, 21st century. The public area outside the buildings, except for before the elections maybe, are not being taken care of. And I think I think you mentioned, you young people have to go to politics, the local one, city, and the government. Otherwise, the real change will not happen. And you have to be there in order to make the change. You have a beautiful, I don't know why National Geographic is not here more often, but when you go and see Jagodina or Devil Throat, it's beautiful. But the facilities outside are developed by the local people around. You don't have place to park. And nobody in the government, I don't want to criticize so much, otherwise they will kick me. You don't develop your potential. I'll go back to Prague for a second. 5 million tourists are coming to Prague because someone gave them a beautiful city. Half of the turnovers of the shop in the city center is from tourists. I'm sure it's similar in Vienna. And I see on CNN countries that are promoting themselves come to invest in Macedonia or in Dubai, Azerbaijan.
You have a good campaign.
Nothing about Bulgaria. And you are not different than other countries next to you. But nothing is done about this.
I think there's a lot of truth in what you're saying. We are underselling ourselves. There's a lot to be proud of that we need to promote a little better to the world.
Selling is not enough. You have to do something before you sell yourself.
Sure. But maybe sell yourself, get some cash in, invest in that thing. I don't know. I'm a sales guy, so maybe that's my perspective. If we can go back to your professional careers, you know, you're employers, you manage people. What kind of people are you looking for? I mean, a lot of the guys in the audience today, maybe not in this room, but in general, are here to find a job, practically. What are the skill sets you're looking for? You know, again, different sectors, although I'm sure there's some similarities across.
I like different people. I like to be different. I think that everyone, everywhere that is working, Devin, you cannot be a producer of this water by being the same as your competition. You have to be different in many ways, or almost in every way, everything that you are doing. Banks, I'm sure that there are many banks. If you are not different from your competition, you will stay in the same place. Being different, for me, is the most, if I can catch when I interview someone, that this someone can be different or has a potential to be different, I will take this someone. I have a gift for you. I brought 15 books only of being different. Jonathan Livingstone the Seagull in Bulgaria. And I bought a lot of them. I gave to many of our tenants. It's a story about a seagull, not a human being, but it's about being different. So after this event, only 15 can take, because this was the last. So being different is what I'm looking in an employee.
Okay. So thank you for the. So the Jonathan the Seagull, 15 books. First come, first serve after the panel.
No, I also believe in diversity. We have a very diverse senior management team, extended senior management team. For me, the backgrounds the professional background, the educational background is not the key. For us, the key is the attitude, the passion, the personality, and the values. We are, we're very proud to be a very clean and transparent company. We are not into murky business. We are not bribing. We are not doing a lot of stuff. So I need people who share these values, who share the way we do business, and who carry these values towards the outside, customers, consumers, and co-workers. And so we have many different backgrounds in many different positions. And I want diversity in the organization because you bring in, you cross-fertilize based on the different background people have. And that's what basically drives the business ultimately. Okay. Also new ideas, innovations, when we talk about route to market models, sales strategies, marketing strategies. It's not anymore the way it was 10 years ago. Marketing today looks completely different from what it was 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. It's changing every day. You need to communicate different, social media, digital media strategy, etc. So you need to have also people doing this coming out of this generation. So it's changing, and you have to also bring in people generation-wise who are close to your consumers. So they understand your consumers, they understand the need states. So it's very dynamic, and so is the employment strategy.
So exactly for this reason, for the change, constant change, and the speed of change today, what we are searching for are people that are agile, learning agility. I hope people know what it means, really adaptable to new situations, to change, to being able to embrace this change, put it in a real life, make concrete results out of it. So flexibility, adaptability, learning agility, to have the mindset that is able to cope with the constant change and the speed of change that today is here. Otherwise, I confirm also the values and the diversity. That's what every company values. Yes.
Yeah. That's I guess a bit of a leading question, given that it's a career forum for Bulgarians with educational work experience abroad. But do you see differences, or do you particularly seek people with that international exposure and experience within your organization? Is that something that, again, I guess it goes back to values as well? But what do you think? I can give you my answer.
I didn't understand.
Okay, the question is this. What we see is that a lot of people with that international exposure and experience have values that are, I guess, similar to what you would describe, and sometimes are described as different to what a Bulgarian education, someone only with Bulgarian education perhaps has.
For me, I'm speaking about UniKredit values. Okay. So it's not the values of the person, of the nation, of Bulgarians, whether you have international exposure or not. It's the values that the company has, that we are living according to these values. And so people I'm choosing to the company must fit to these values, must have the same as a personal ones. That's...
Okay.
No, of course you do, and that it's not just about Bulgarians who have been studying or working abroad. It applies to any single country. Yes, you see more, you have more experience, you mature faster in many cases. I see it in my company. Most of my people have been either working abroad or studying abroad, or had multi-country experience out of Bulgaria, have been in charge of more than just Bulgaria, but a portfolio of countries. And of course it makes a difference because you see more, you have more experience. You know you have a bigger frame of reference in terms of what works, what doesn't work in different markets. It drives personality, right? Being open to other cultures and studying abroad somewhere for a couple of years is creating an open-mindedness, a flexibility. It triggers creativity. Yes, it makes a difference, but it applies to any nationality. Yeah?
Okay.
But of course, it's something that Bulgaria, I think, can and should appreciate more than maybe other countries do, and than what it is really done in reality today. I give an example. When I was looking for a couple of senior management roles, we have been contacting Bulgarians abroad, either working with other multinational companies abroad. the majority of them didn't want to come back. They said, yeah, very interested, but you know, I don't want to come back. I have a good life here with my family, etc. So my answer was always, okay, I understand, yeah. But if you want to lead and shape in your job, then you should come back, because here is the opportunity to lead and shape. If you want to feel cozy, yeah, in a multinational expat environment, if you want to be reactive in your career or not active, okay, then stay where you are. But there are plenty of opportunities here that you might not have at this career stage in other countries. Come back, take a role, take a lead, shape, yeah. And this is what I think we need to see much more. Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing smart to add.
Good answers in both. Okay, I think we're very close to running out of time. Perhaps, first question. Is there any questions from the audience? I mean, we can open up. I see a question from the audience. Can you, sorry, help with the microphone? I'm going to have a final question on final thoughts, but let's just see what the audience thinks. Can you also introduce yourself as well, please?
Hello, thanks for the presentation. I'm Tatiana. I'm studying law in Germany. I'm from Bulgaria, and I wanted to ask you about this huge professional decision to come to a whole new country, Bulgaria. Was it also a personal one? So did you have, how was your work-life balance? Did you have a big group discussion with your families? And can you elaborate more or maybe give us some advice when taking such a big professional career decision? How do we cope with the personal life with all the people around us who love us and maybe would move with us? Thanks.
Well, you moved your whole family here.
Exactly. So for me, it was definitely both. It was professional and also personal decision. So on one side, I have to be thankful to UniKredit for this opportunity, and obviously it was fitting the career plan or perspectives that I was having. So on professional side, having being head of HR of a leading financial company here in Bulgaria was a nice challenge that I wanted to go through. On the personal side, I have a husband, I'm going to promote him here, that he has been working in 29 countries of the world. Right. And so, being a consultant. And so, for him, immediately hearing a new country where he has not been yet, was that, yes, Bulgaria,
I'd love to.
I would be happy to, yes, why not? So it was very easy decision from
why not?
Both from personal and professional side.
After 29 countries, why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Do you have anything to add?
Oh, it's different. I was offered to go to Prague when I was 50. And I said yes. And they said, go see Prague. And I used this to get divorced. So this is so I didn't have any. I have 3 sons in Israel. All of them are now there, 5 grandsons. It's much easier to live here than in Israel, because with the cost of one apartment here, with the cost of one apartment in Tel Aviv, you can buy 5 here. Much better than in Tel Aviv. The cost of living there is huge, so I prefer to stay here. I have a family here, so it's even better. And as I said, I don't see myself going back, but flying every 3-5 weeks to Tel Aviv and back. It's very hot there. Here it's much nicer. So I didn't have any family discussions.
Thomas?
I have been living with family in 6-7 different countries and moving at a different age of the kids, for example. And you know, I think in Europe it's not an issue at all. I think within Europe you can move into any country at any point in time. You can stop your life today here, continue tomorrow in another country without major disruptions in terms of schooling, housing, etc. All the EU all the European countries are very compatible in that regard. So there's no difference for me between Bulgaria, France, or Copenhagen, or Warsaw. Of course, when you move to Asia or you move to Latin America or Africa, it's a different subject. But within Europe, I think in terms of mobility, agility, there's no issue at all. I think a lot is in the mind of the people. There's a lot very often maybe artificially created in terms of comfort zone, etc. But you can live anywhere with your family in a very convenient way if you have schooling and housing sorted out. And in 2015, that's not an issue. It was maybe an issue in 95, it was maybe an issue in 2000, but in 2015, it's not an issue anymore.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions from the audience? No? Okay. Well, if you could wrap up the discussion with a bit of a message to our candidates here, people attending, what would you say? You know, just set the context. These are guys either looking for personal career development, maybe within your organizations, maybe in general, or maybe they're just here to hear an interesting story about why a foreigner moves here. Why does he spend here? So maybe the message about career in Bulgaria. Why not?
Career, it doesn't matter where. I have another advice, except for being different. Read about Pygmalion effect. It's some kind of a phenomena that the higher the expectation you have from your employees, and one day you will have employees, maybe today, the results are better. And I think that if you adopt it and you know how to practice it, it works amazingly.
No, again, I think the message is Bulgaria is underselling itself. I think the opportunities are huge. The opportunities are not very often understood or displayed properly. I think you have, as Bulgarians who have been living and studying abroad, you have huge opportunities in these countries. You have bigger opportunities here than in many other countries. You can lead and shape. Take responsibility, accountability for the transition and for the future of your own country. Yeah? Take part in it, take part in the development, don't watch it and bitch. Yeah? So that would be, because, you know, if foreigners, I know a lot of foreigners who are living in and working in Bulgaria, and they're all very happy and satisfied and fulfilled, and they can achieve things here, you can move things here. So you should be thinking and feeling the same. Yeah?
Good message.
Yes, and search for the opportunities. Go for opportunities, take them, grab them. Believe in yourself. Believe in your country. Bulgaria needs diversity. They need people that have international experience, international exposure, education. Bulgaria also needs people that have strong origin, connections to traditions, Bulgarian traditions. So this diversity, if you combine it well, you can get great results. So believe in this potential of this country, go for the opportunities, believe in yourself, and good luck.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Really high note to finish in. We appreciate your time and hope to see you again down the line.